just, I guess substance abuse is basically the kind of the catalyst for a lot of more bigger issues. So what can we do? What can we say to our kids? I don't know.
Well, for me, from my personal experience, because I'm not a paid counselor with a certificate or anything, but I do have. I've been living for 43 years, and so I think I might know my story might relate to somebody else. The most important thing I believe is to have an open line of communication. And when I say an open line of communication, if my child, which I have 3 kids, and my ex-wife, Stacy, I'm her biggest cheerleader. She's done a wonderful job, but because of my irresponsibility, she's had to do the raising with family and friends, family to help them. But they're still in my life. I'm getting to go see them. Matter of fact, get to fly up there Friday. But here's the thing that I've learned is I have to be able to understand when my child is trying to tell me something, okay? To not respond where it seems like I'm judging them or making them feel like they're stupid, because a child is just, whether it be a teenager or what, they're just experiencing life. Just like we did. So if they do something we don't approve of, and then I condemn them right away, they may never trust me ever again. And that's the big, because it's like, oh, you can tell me, but then my facial expressions is like this, or then or they're gonna, there's consequences, and don't get me wrong, there's consequences behind their reaction. But that's the most important thing, because there are a lot of things that go on that we don't know. We were all kids, and if I can't go to my parent, then I'm gonna go to somebody else. And I have to be able to, if my kids are getting involved in drugs, all right, drugs and alcohol are only the symptoms. Now, they are the symptoms for something greater going on that's spiritual, i.e., some kids could have been, like we said, been bullied. Some kids could have been molested. Some kids could be going through, having sexual identity issues, And if I can't be there for my child to talk to me about anything, then they're going to go find it somewhere else. And so that's the most important thing that I have to be able to look at myself. First off, with that, I have to be leading the example. Now, because some parents are like, well, where did you learn that? Why would you do that? I've never did that. Right. Well, they say, well, yes, you do that. Yes, you do, Mom. And then they can like, no, I don't. But my kids are only a mirror reflection of me, because I'm their first influencer, besides in school and things down there. So I have to be able to look at myself to see if I'm giving that good response. That good role modeling, not the kind that I'm looking in the mirror and saying, no, that's not. I'm talking about all the way through. Because if my child tells me, well, you're doing that too, Dad, I need to sit back and say, am I? Because they're learning it from somewhere. So I think communication is the first thing.
I'd agree with Reggie, and the second big thing is friends. I have 2 children, close. Of course, they're grown. But it's interesting, my son was hanging around somebody who I didn't approve of, and that person influenced my son very greatly. So, it is one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch. And Reggie is so right on. It's the communications, because if you don't have the communications and trust of your child, there's no matter what you can say. And you got to look for the signs. The signs are this, is basically if they're very hyper, if they're withdrawn, any kind of behavioral out of the norm stuff, you should not just say, he's just going through this stage. You need to question. And of course, as teenagers, they'll say, oh, I'm fine. I'm fine, right? And so you have to break that barrier, and you can say, son, daughter, you're acting very different now, and say, what's going on? And, just to be their coddling friend, partner, but still be firm enough to be their parent. It's a fine line there. And really digging down and finding out what their issue is. And, 9 out of 10 times, it has to do with a friend. Because, as teenagers, parents aren't cool, right? Right? And so I don't want to hang around my mom, right? So I'm going to hang around my friends, and those friends have big influences. And so if I don't have that communications that Reggie talked about, I'm stuck. I'm stuck because I let my children choose which friends they want, and I don't have a say in it, right?
All right, let's stop for a break real quick, and then we're gonna get back, and we're gonna be talking about what as parents can try to figure out how to raise kids.
Okay.
All right?
Right.
Back in a moment on Healthy